Welcome to another episode of Dost Isms. Everything that you never knew that you should know that but was kept as a trade secret from us. Today, we're going to just briefly touch upon what's called the W3C, ubiquitous domain. Let me share my screen here, and this is the computer language that financial services and well, everything is pretty much done through nowadays. And that is the computer code. It's an XML standard, XML schema. I'm sorry, and it is this is the web page for it. Ubiquitous domain. Ubiquitous means everywhere. That's present everywhere. Kind of like our intellectual soul, kind of like the artificial person that exists outside of ourselves. And that's exactly what we're talking about here. Now, this is I'm not going to go through all this is very complex and very deep in conversation, but I wanted to share with you that this is the new economic system. This is not the system that people can file a UCC-1 on and expect to have everything come their way. It doesn't work that way. Not these days it doesn't, because it's a closed loop system. And in this system, these are things that were not disclosed to us, but it is the system that runs things. It's the underlying schema of things. And so let me go to my other screen here and just go through the scheme is just it's pretty as you see, it's pretty intense. It's got XML scheme is the computer language. It just covers everything. I mean, everything from financial services to governmental services, everything. Let me switch over to my other scheme here and see if you can see that one. Hopefully you can. Make sure I'm sharing the screen, make sure that you see what I'm seeing here. And that's not the one I wanted though, but I want to go to this one first. I want to go to internationalization of, I can't pronounce that word, internationalization glossary. This is, let's make sure I've got this screen sharing here properly. Yes, I do. Okay, so this is a table of contents here on this particular ubiquitous domain, and this is the internationalization glossary. I'll get that out right. And so if you go into the glossary here, this describes all the different things, all the different words and all the different, see the first one here, abjad, abugida. And it's just very interesting the way that alphabet. Alphabet is derived from the alphabet, a writing system in which both consonants and vowels are indicated. The term alphabet is derived from the first two letters of the Greek script, alpha and beta. Unicode definition, which is one of the base languages of this. Like I said, I'm not a computer programmer, so I don't know all the particulars about this, but what I do know is that this is what the system that they're using and that we can be using as well if we knew about it. And if we had knowledge of it and were able to act as our own self-sovereign, so to speak. I think this one's an interesting definition here, the canonical Unicode locale identifier. Canonical, we refer to canonical. I was born and raised Catholic, so when I think of the canon law, I think of the Catholic canon law. But they're not talking about the Catholic canon law here. They're talking about the Anglican canon law, because that's kind of they came up with their own canon law that kind of displaced Catholic canon law. And we'll get into the religious aspects of this down the road, but I think you're going to be very shocked and surprised when we get into that part of this. But anyhow, this is the language that they're using. I find this very interesting down here too, this definition for bike shed. The bike shed generates if you're using bike shed to generate your specification, you can import this glossary using a spec directive that looks like this and tells you what it is. But it's the interesting thing about bike shed, and we'll get back into it, and we'll go through this in another one because this is just more information, is that a bike suspension is one of the patents that is used through First American Title Insurance, believe it or not. That goes through BlackRock, believe it or not. That goes through a company called Cartouche Corporation, believe it or not. That goes through municipal bonds. And the patents that they're going through is a bike suspension, a bicycle suspension, of all things. And so, and you're probably scratching your head thinking, what the hell does all this stuff mean? And that's the point about this stuff. This is the point of what I'm doing here is to try to refocus people and focus people to intellectual properties. Okay, the metaphysics of this. These are all schemes. Everything that codes and statutes and rule laws based on is all schemes. It's all the derivations of somebody's mind. It's philosophies. It's natural sciences. It's physical sciences. It's all these things that reside in the side of intellectual properties. Okay, and so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to open people's eyes and say, listen, we've been lied to all these years. Okay, we have been deceived into believing, especially the past 20 some years, we've been deceived into believing that everything is ordinary course as it's always been. Just like any mortgage loan was an ordinary course transaction for the American dream. Well, that's bullshit. That's not true. Okay, that is it's a trade secret that's kept from us, but it's not really kept from us because it's all out in the open. I mean, I could, and then as we go through these videos, I'll show you. I mean, there's no secrets out there. Everything that they're doing, everything that they're doing to us, all the exploitations that they're doing to us, the exploiting of our artificial person that is our property. Just everything is so backwards from what it really is, what the reality actually is. We've been so deceived, and well, basically, we've been deceived into a state of ignorance, and that's where we are. And so that's the point of the videos that I'm trying to do, that I'm doing, is to try to wake people up to the fact and say, hey, listen, this is what you were told, but forget about that. Look over here. This is where the real information is. This is where the stuff that you need to know how to operate your life, basically, and take your freedoms and liberties back. And it's difficult because people are so ingrained in this reality and so ingrained in disinformation these days and lies and deceptions that it's just some people are beyond reach, I think. But what I'm trying to do here is to try to smack people awake here, or try to get some interest in here to say, listen, what we need to do as a people here to save this nation, to save ourselves, is to basically claim our intellectual properties and do a run on the U.S. Just like a run on the bank, we do a run on the United States Patent and Trademarks Office. Say, wait a second here. No, this is not acceptable. We're going to take our rights back. Well, this is the language that they're using. And these are the things that that is a closed loop system that, UCC one filing or any of these other ridiculous things that people are doing to try to find their birth account is going to do. Because you have to, everything is computerized, everything is automated, everything goes by licenses, everything goes by an agreements that are recording patents and trademarks. That's the entry to all this stuff. And that's what I'm trying to draw people's attention to here. So anyhow, I digress a bit. So this W3C open source XML schema here's another page on it. It talks about W3 open source software. I mean, it's just got it just goes down. It goes on and on and on and on. Just all kinds of different computer languages and computer derivations of this. And let me tell you what the whole point about this is. The whole point about all these patents, the whole point about this, what we're looking at right here, is to keep us, the living individual, separate from the artificial person. They want to keep us separate from it. Why? So they can exploit it, so that they can monetize it, so that they can capitalize on it, so that they can profit from it. And this is why we don't get anywhere. This is why the billionaires are the billionaires, and we're not getting anywhere, because we lack the knowledge of what's really going on here. Now, let me switch over to the assignment of this particular this W3 XML schema. Let me switch over to my PDF file of the assignment of this and who did this. This is a trademark assignment cover sheet. MIT was the organization that or the college, I guess you could say, that derived and invented the W3C ubiquitous domain. And this is the assignment of the entire interest and goodwill of this program. You see, it's MIT, it's a Worldwide Consortium, Inc. Okay. Now these are supposed to be. Now, let me tell you something. These are free standards. Okay, these are not. These are standards that are open source standards. Okay, so these are things that are available to us to use for ourselves. Had we the knowledge, had we the knowledge to do these things, and we don't because it was never disclosed to us. So anyhow, let's go down through this and just run through this real quickly and see what it says. So it says trademark assignment is made and entered into by and between MIT corporation duly organized under the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Commonwealth. Four Commonwealths. There's Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth of Virginia, there's the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, there's the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Now, from my studies and my 14, 15 years of studying this stuff, Massachusetts has to do with the private trusts. Virginia has to do with corporations and all capitalized names. Virginia has to do with Admiralty Maritime, and I don't know what the fuck Kentucky is. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell Kentucky is good for within the Commonwealth schemes. But anyhow, it is the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And if you recall, when this nation was formed, 13 colonies, four of those colonies did not want to break completely with England. That's why they're commonwealths. And they take cognizance of English law, and because those four do it, it applies to all the rest of us. So anyhow, they're saying here that let's see, assigner. So MIT is the assigner, Worldwide Consortium is the assignee. And this was December. Now, this agreement here is an updated agreement because this was first done back in 2001. So it's an updated agreement to this. But it's saying, whereas a signer and assignee are parties to the asset transfer agreement with an effective date of December 21st, 2022, and the trademark and copyright agreement with an effective date of blah, 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 so on and so forth. Whereas the parties desire to enter into agreement for the purpose of memorializing and recording the assignment of trademarks together with the goodwill of the business symbolized by trademarks with the United States Patent and Trademarks Office, as well as applicable government authorities in other jurisdictions. Now, therefore, in consideration of mutual covenants and set forth below, and in the asset transfer agreement and copyright agreement, and for other good and valuable consideration, receipt and sufficiency of which are hereby acknowledged, and the parties agree as follows. The assigner, that's where it gets interesting. The assigner grants, conveys, transfers, and assigns to assignee all of assigner's right, title, and interest in and to the trademarks as set forth in Schedule A, together with the goodwill of the business symbolized by the trademarks, including all common law rights associated with the trademarks, and assignee accepts such grant, conveyance, transfer, and assignment. Assistance. Assigner agrees that upon reasonable request of the assignee and that the assignee so cost and expense, assignor shall execute and deliver or cause to be executed and delivered such further instruments and to take such other actions as necessary to vest, perfect, or confirm ownership by assignee of the trademarks. The entire agreement, this assignment, including Schedule A and the asset transfer agreement and the trademark copyright agreement referred to herein, contains the entire agreement and understanding of the parties hereto with respect to the subject matter. Therein, of course, we're the subject matter. We are the ones that are being exploited. It is our all capitalized name, our artificial person that's been taken and is being exploited for the profits and gains of others to our detriment. And continue on, and then it ends, and there's the signatories to it, and that is that. And here's the acknowledgement, the notarization of that, and this is the second notarization of that. So this was, and here are these are the various countries where else it's recorded. And you can see Australia, Canada, China, European Union, France, Germany, Israel, Japan, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Singapore, South Korea, Switzerland, Taiwan, Thailand, United Kingdom, and United States, running up the rear. So this is worldwide. This is the computer language they're using. This is a schema that they're using. XML, we will go into more things about this in later installments, but this is just an eye opener just to say, listen, this is a automate. This is a not this. This is not your father's economy. This is not your father's and mother's economy or ordinary course business practices. This is serious shit. This is all computerized. It's all operated by these various XML standards and schemas that are recorded in patents and trademarks and controls everything. So when they talk about our common law rights, they're talking about the interference between us and our assets that we have. So again, this is just a very, very introductory, very just a brief discussion on a very complex subject here that goes into some mind-numbing things. Like I said, I'm not a computer programmer, but that's what they do. Oh, one other thing I forgot to mention, the main point about this was this. Who else is using this? And that is, let's see, and that is, where to go now? That is this here. Treasury. Let's see, I've got my screen paused here, so let me go here. Okay, share. There we go. Okay, that is the main purpose why I'm doing this one video. It's because Treasury uses XML. Treasury. So if you want to be a secured party creditor, you better damn well learn how to operate XML, because otherwise you're not going to be able to do it. So all the people that are trying to sell you on the idea to be a secured party creditor, we can be a secured party creditor. I don't know how it's even possible to be a secured party creditor without, one, being a practitioner in patents and trademarks, two, without knowing the XML language. It can't be done. It just can't be. So this is so just Treasury's using this. So we'll go through some of these things here. So you got collection report here, and it's got all the documentation here. So what I'm going to do is I'll post this up for people to look at, because I'm not going to go through every one of these things on here, because there's a lot of links here, and it's one of these things that you might want to kind of take a look at for yourself and see what we're dealing with here. This is a very complex system, but it's really not. I mean, XML, though, seems to be a pretty simple system, but here we go. So we got attribute information here that describes, like I said, I'm not a computer programmer, so forgive me if I'm not speaking computer talk. So this is the attribute information, and this is the attribute names through which is XML operates. And so what it says here, it goes through all this stuff. It's identified in an accounting office. So it's ALC. It gives it. So basically, what this is the definitions. Okay, it goes through. It talks about account numbers. It talks about financial agents. It talks about depositories. This is. If you want to become a secured party creditor, this is what you got to know. Okay. Everything's cash. It's talking about cash flow here. It talks about transactions, electronic transactions, talks about everything. So this is, like I said, I'm not going to go through all this in detail, because it's a lot to go through here in detail, and I'm not going to. This would be a longer video to do this. So this is just an introductory to some of the knowledge I picked up, and just to point people's attention to the fact that, hey, let's get out of this ignorance that we're in. Let's acknowledge the sins of ignorance and become knowledgeable on what's really going on here, and what our responsibility is here for ourselves and our families, and to secure our own freedoms and liberties. So anyhow, I'm going to cut it off at that. Thank you again. Please put a like if you like this. Please put a like, subscribe, and we'll keep going with these. So thank you, and thank you for joining another episode. Have a good evening. Thanks. Bye.